You know who my next guest is? He's been the talk of the town this past weekend for his slam KO victory over Matt Wiman. Of course, I'm talking about Jordan Leavitt joining me here on the program. Jordan, how's it going, man?
It's going well. I have no complaints.
I bet, man. You've been busy. I was talking about this off air. You've been doing TMZ. You've been doing all these different interviews. How has that been? Because I'm sure you weren't expecting that after your first UFC victory, getting so much media.
Yeah, not at all. I'm a very private person. So all the interviews, I'm learning. I'm getting through the social anxiety and the awkwardness. Well, I'm still awkward. I'm not going to ever get through that. But, I'm working through it, and I feel like I'm getting a little bit better. And I'm getting used to this weird.
That's good. Or let me ask you this. Are interviews in some ways more terrifying than going into the fight sometimes for you?
100%, because when you make a mistake in the fight, you can still kind of figure out a way to pull through and make it look right. But you say the wrong quote, then, it's kind of forever.
Right. Well, no worries. I like I said, I edit these anyway, so you got nothing to worry about with me, man. Obviously, it's been good that we could finally connect here. But is there it was kind of an interesting debut, obviously, with the way the fight ended and all that. I know you've been asked a lot of questions about it, but how does it feel? Like, have you been able to even enjoy the fact that you got your first UFC win? Because I feel like everyone's been talking about the way the fight ended as opposed to you just getting the win.
Yeah, it's a little weird. It's kind of made it hard for me to settle into everything. Mm-hmm. Because especially people say, mean things or horrible things like that was dirty, or, he's a very violent person, his persona's fake. There's no way you could be that awkward and nice, but also do those violent things. And my friends and family, oh, yeah, I was so bad, eh? And I'm like, I'm just happy to get the win. I didn't need to win that way. I would prefer to win almost any other way.
For sure.
But it's definitely still hasn't really settled in yet, I don't think.
But saying that, you don't get paid by the hour, 22-second win, right? So, I mean, that you came out unscathed too, right? Like, it's one of those things, I'm sure that part of it is good where you didn't spend, a long time in the cage, so to speak.
Yeah, I gave myself a black eye.
A little bit, yeah. I was going to say, I can barely see it,
I'm a danger to myself and others, I suppose. But yeah, $3,100 a second is what it broke down to, so no complaints there.
Yeah,
it's a big change from being on food stamps and having to survive off a stimulus check, so life's pretty good.
I'd say so, man. Well, again, it was a great win. You talked about in other interviews how you don't think that what you essentially did should be illegal. Why is that? Is it because of the feedback you've got, or is that something you've always felt? What's sort of the reason for that?
It's weird. I was kind of misquoted. So basically, I said, if you slam someone on the back of their head, I believe, I understand the rationale for wanting that to be illegal. Mm-hmm. It's brutal, but then also, people get kicked in the head and get their skulls fractured by knees, and none of that happened. But luckily, I slammed them on the side of the head. Like, that's the point of the crossface, to turn them so that way only one half of the muscles of the neck are working to stop the impact as opposed to both. So I guess the crossface makes it safer, but also more dangerous. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, I definitely think, spiking should always be illegal. But, I think what I did was perfectly legal. And it's not the best way to win, but if you didn't make that illegal, then people would just pull guard to avoid damage, and can't have that. So
yeah, and I'm glad you clarified that because again, I saw that quote and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And to hear you say your version of it, of what was actually in the quote. So this is what we're talking about media and stuff. I'm glad we cleared that up, that, obviously you feel like if it's, on the back of the head, that should be something. But in terms of the slam itself, if you do it properly, it should be completely legal. So glad we cleared that up there, because I don't want anyone, coming after you or whatever. Right. So that's important too. And then where did you learn how to do that move? You know what it reminded me of? Did you ever watch pro wrestling growing up, or no? Were you a pro wrestling guy?
Oh, yeah, I watched wrestling growing up.
The Dudley Boys. That reminded me of the slam through the table a little bit, kind of like that.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And where did I learn that from? I forgot his name on Fight Night, but Gerald.
Gerald Harris. Yeah.
Yeah, he has 3 knockouts of the exact same way, posting the forearm across the neck. Mm-hmm. I learned it from watching him, so he's to blame for the damage I did. So
for sure, and not just that, but it was mentioned on the broadcast that it was a legal. What you did was completely legal. So I guess fans just are either watching the fight on mute or they're just trying to find something to nitpick. But how have you dealt with all the backlash? Because I know you, like you said, you're a nice guy. You probably didn't expect this type of feedback after a win like this.
Well, luckily, the delete button works on Instagram just fine. So
exactly, yeah.
if your first sentence isn't positive, I just stop reading it. I delete it anyway. That's how I've been kind of shutting it out. The most of the reaction has been almost completely positive.
Yeah.
I'm really touched by a lot of the nice things people say and the positive feedback I'm getting. So it's a net positive. I'm super happy about it. There's always going to be some rotten apples they're going to be sending me hate mail no matter what happens. So that's it.
Yeah. No, that's a great way to sort of look at it. How did you celebrate after the win?
Honestly, I just went home, hung out with my wife, and ate a whole pecan pie.
Nice. Store-bought
yeah,
or was it homemade? What type of pecan pie are we talking about here?
Homemade for sure. My wife only makes homemade stuff.
Good for you. Listen, you got class. I can tell you that, man. That's important. You got to have the homemade stuff. Can't get store-bought. Who knows where it's been, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I was lucky they just froze it.
Yeah, brought it in there. No, you're all good. I think you're safe.
Just froze the pie on Thanksgiving and opened it for after the fight. It was a nice
smart idea, right? You can't eat the bad food on Thanksgiving. You got the fight coming up. Put it in the freezer. Have it after. You're ahead of the game here, man. I love it. That's great.
Ryan.
There you go. Here we are talking about pecan pie. It's great. So you mentioned, a lot of overwhelmingly positive feedback. Did you have any other fighters that you didn't know reach out and say, "Hey, man, congratulations on the win"? That type of stuff.
Actually, no fighters have reached out. And I mean, no, I wasn't really expecting it to be. I had a few people comment like, "Oh, the lift could have been a little bit better, and the split, you should have pointed your toes." That was kind of funny.
Okay, fair enough.
I've been loving the jokes. I've been loving the comments on Reddit. And, like, all the funny ones that don't involve the slam where they're just talking about my celebration and stuff and the memes.
Yeah.
I grew up in the meme generation, so it's kind of flattering and awesome to kind of be part of that.
Yeah, I can't believe you're 25, man. You, sound mature beyond your years, in terms of, and I know you say it's awkward, but I think just the way you carry yourself is very mature. Have other people told you that before?
Yes. I was kind of one of the boring middle schoolers. I was always, very low-key. I've always had confidence to be myself for the most part. I feel like a lot of the times people put on a persona. They don't really have kind of the courage to be disliked. They're too busy trying to worry about people liking them to kind of just live their life in the way that they find fulfilling. Mm-hmm. And I've always just kind of gone against the grain. I've always been a little awkward. My mom raised me that way. I get that attitude from my mom. Just people who love you, they'll love you no matter what. People who don't find a reason to dislike you would have found a reason anyway.
And they probably got stuff they don't like, so they're projecting that on you. That's what I've learned. So there you go. I think you got the right attitude. I think you're like a silent assassin, right? Super nice guy, but you can pull off stuff in the cage, right? So there you go. I think that's a good way to be. Then it's not as obvious. So there you go.
Thank you very much. I like it. So
there you go. Maybe it'll be the new nickname there. No, I'm just kidding. You got a great nickname. The $50K bonus. You talked a little bit about it after I think the fight, but what have you thought about what you're going to do with it in terms of have you talked to your manager what you plan on doing with the money?
Yeah, after I pay everybody out, I just kind of want to buy my wife a house. We're probably gonna lease a place for a year to save some money. I'm gonna try to get 3 or 4 more fights and just buy a house, secure our stability for the foreseeable future. That's why I'm fighting. It's cool to be, I guess, fame's cool, I suppose, and I guess looking cool in a cage is nice, but I'm just trying to find stability and comfort for my family in a way that I find interesting, and yeah, that's the plan. Just win a few more fights, buy my wife a house, so that way I don't have to worry about bills again.
Good thinking. I heard February is kind of when you're looking to get back in there, because you have a child on the way, right?
Yeah, my baby girl will be here late January, early February, hopefully. So I'm going to give myself 2 weeks after she's born, and then I'm ready for any fights after that.
And it's your first child, correct?
Yeah, my first baby.
How are you feeling about it, man? Fatherhood. I'm a dad myself. It's a pretty life-changing experience. I'm sure no one's told you that before. Just kidding, because I'm sure everyone's giving you advice. But how are you feeling heading into fatherhood?
I've wanted to be a dad my entire life. I didn't get a dad until I was 18. My mom married my father figure, but I didn't have that figure in my life, and I've always wanted to be there for my kid. So I can't wait to be a dad.
Good stuff.
I'm scared when I'm teaching my little 4 to 7-year-olds at the gym. Sometimes children are heinous, and it makes you worried about how you're going to be as a parent. But I want to give it my best shot. I'm excited for it.
It's a very cool experience. My son's 3 now, and it's like the best age because his personality's coming out, and it's the best. So yeah, I highly recommend parenting if anyone's out there who isn't a parent. There you go. Before we get out of here, what does downtime look like? I know you spend a lot of time with your wife. I know she's getting prepped, obviously, for giving birth. But are you like a video game guy? Do you watch any Netflix? What are your hobbies outside of fighting?
Okay, so I read a lot of fantasy and science fiction and Stephen King. I'm probably going to play through Mass Effect for like the 12th time this month. I love RPGs, Mass Effect, Dragon Age, Oblivion, Skyrim. Those are the games I play. I'm definitely going to be doing that during this downtime, get a few campaigns through. Okay. And I just like to watch Netflix. I'm a low key nerd. I like to just do things in my downtime to decompress, and I'm excited to not be in fight camp and to have some time just to have fun.
We were talking off air. We have a mutual friend, Justin Osborne, who trains with you. You and Justin ever play video games together? Because he's a pretty big gamer.
We haven't played video games together. I'm going to have to reach out to him. A lot of my teammates I've been playing games, and I might have to finally I've never had Xbox Live or anything, so maybe now that I have money, I can try that out.
There you go. Get the membership. I'll give Justin an old nudge on Instagram and see if he'd be game. I'm sure he would be. That would be great. Before we go, most important question in the interview. We got Christmas coming up. What's your favorite Christmas movie?
Die Hard, obviously.
Yes, that's the right answer. That was the right answer. That's what I was looking for. Man, you're on a roll today. Pecan Pie, Die Hard. You got it made here. And Die Hard is a Christmas movie because it took place on Christmas. Everyone's got to realize that. So there you go. Jordan, this was awesome, man. Really appreciate the time. I know you're super busy with doing a bunch of stuff, obviously, after the fight. But in the meantime, if you got any sponsors or social media or anyone you want to thank, I'll give you the last word.
I have a lot of sponsors, a lot of supporters, and I don't want to mention them because I'll leave somebody out.
Social media is probably where you're posting them, right? So there you go.
Want to follow me on Twitter at Mr. Jojo Monkey King. If you want to follow me at Instagram, it's at monkeyking_UFC. You want to see some yoga poses and some strange selfies and some stuff, that's where you can find me.